Hey everyone, welcome back. As you can see, today I'm trying something completely new. This is not my normal kind of video. This is more of a podcast format, and I'll be adding in graphics later, like the ones you are probably seeing now, and I'll probably include some clips from the show as well. There are just so many ways of doing reviews on YouTube, and I want to try out some of the different ones before I settle on just one. And maybe I won't settle for just one. I could go back and forth, or mix and match. Who knows? I just want to experiment and try out as many new techniques as I can. The best way to learn is to do, so this is me doing. I've been a fan of Steven Universe for a couple years now, and it has quickly become one of my all-time favorite cartoons. The stories are so much deeper than your average silly cartoon, and there is so much going on below the surface that it is really fun to speculate about where it might be going. I've wanted to review Steven Universe for a long time now, and last year I thought about writing reviews for the Rotoscopers, but I was already doing two different series, The Muppets and Star Wars Rebels, and I didn't feel like I could add on a new one since I had both school and work. But now that I'm out of school and have started a YouTube channel, I thought this would be the perfect time to start reviewing it, especially since the show just entered its 5th season. From here on out, I just want to give fair warning, spoiler alert, some absolutely huge stuff went down the other night, and if you don't want to be spoiled, turn away now. So Monday night we got a 1-hour event entitled Wanted, and it was amazing. The special covered 4 different episodes, Stuck Together, The Trial, Off Colors, and Lars Head. We learned so much. We probably are still not even close to getting any definitive answers, but we got some great information. In Stuck Together, we follow Lars and Steven still inside the fused topaz. Lars finally starts to open up to Steven and admits that he acts like a jerk half the time because he's scared. He's just a ball of anxiety all the time, and he masks that with his usual bad attitude. When the two finally reconcile, Topaz bursts into tears, completely touched about how much they care for each other. It reminds her of how the two unfused topazes that make up the whole topaz feel about each other, and she vows to help them escape. Unfortunately, they are caught by Aquamarine, who threatens Topaz into submission and forces them to unfuse and separate Steven and Lars. I loved this episode. I've had mixed feelings about Lars for this entire series. Yes, he's a jerk, but he did have some moments once in a while where you could almost care for him. But then he'd do something stupid and you'd get right back to hating him again. In the season 4 finale, I really thought we were finally going to get a Lars redemption moment when Sadie was in trouble, but then he just went and hid again. Even though I was mad at him for abandoning Sadie, I did start to warm up to him again in this episode. But then I am just a sucker for a good redemption story, and I have a feeling we're in the middle of a doozy of one for Lars. In the next episode, The Trial, Steven is brought before the Diamonds to be judged for the actions of his mother, Rose Quartz. And here we meet a brand new kind of gem, as there are 2 zircons, a blue and a green, or greenish yellow. She looked like she was yellow under a blue light, I don't know. Anyway, these zircons are arguing for and against Steven as lawyers before the Diamonds, acting as judges. And here I was kind of surprised to find out that Homeworld has a semi-fair way of dealing with criminals, and they were given a semi-fair trial. I say semi because it was obvious that no matter what, they were planning to shatter Rose Quartz, and maybe even her lawyer, because the blue zircon said that both their gems were on the line. During the trial, Zircon successfully argues on Steven's behalf, saying that it was basically impossible for Rose to have gotten anywhere near enough to Pink Diamond in order to shatter her. She should have been surrounded by her attendants at all times, and none of her attendants were Rose Quartz's, so she would have had no logical way of infiltrating them. Then Zircon took it one step too far and suggested that one of the Diamonds may have done it themselves, as they are the only ones with enough authority to cover it up, and of course she is immediately poofed by Yellow Diamond. I'm glad she wasn't shattered because I really liked her, and this way, hopefully, she'll be able to reform later, because I'd love to see her again. I don't know about you guys, but I was shocked at Zircon's hypothesis about Pink Diamond's murder. I have wondered to myself about how and why Rose Quartz might have shattered her, but I never even once considered that it might have been an inside job. This is kind of huge. But I don't think it was Yellow Diamond. The way Zircon talked, so much of the evidence does seem to point to her, but I kind of think that might be a red herring and the real murderer has yet to be seen in the show. But I do have one theory of my own. What if we already know the killer? Zircon specifically asked the Diamonds why Pink Diamond's pearl didn't do anything. What if it was her? And also, who was her pearl? What if it was our pearl, the pearl of the crystal gems? We still know next to nothing about Pearl's life before she joined Rose Quartz. What if she was originally Pink Diamond's pearl? What if she was the one who shattered her? This is all massive speculation, of course. Personally, I'm still holding out hope that Pink Diamond is still alive somewhere. but I had this thought and I just wanted to get it out there. After Yellow Diamond poofs the zircons, Blue begins arguing with her about what Blue Zircon has just said. Steven takes that opportunity to escape with Lars, and the episode ends with them both in Blue Diamond's palanquin falling out of the tower. This leads directly into Off Colors, where we find Steven and Lars at the base of the tower crawling out of the wreckage of the palanquin. They are soon discovered by a Robonoid, and they realize that it's scanning for gems. Steven, of course, has a gem, so they are forced to flee. And I want to mention the music during this whole scene is so good. Steven Universe has always had consistently amazing music, even in scenes like these. I love electronic music, and the music in the chase scenes in this episode was so good. Like, dark and menacing and really uncomfortable, but so cool. I just loved it. Steven and Lars are almost caught by the Robonoid, but they are taken to safety by what turns out to be a rejected off-color gem named Rutile. But it's really more like two Rutiles because they're kind of conjoined. I loved their design. They're one of the most unique non-fusion gems that the show has had so far. The Rutiles take Steven and Lars back to their hideout in a massive abandoned kindergarten. It's kind of like a huge underground cave, but with holes where centuries worth of gems have been born. In the kindergarten, they are introduced to a small group of off-color gems, all of whom have been rejected by the rest of Homeworld society for various reasons. There's Rhodonite, who is rejected for being a permanent fusion of two different gems, a Padparacha Sapphire, who was rejected because instead of future visions like all sapphires are supposed to have, she can only see things that have very recently happened. There's also a massive gem called Fluorite, who looks like a giant grandmother-like caterpillar. She's kind of cute and weird at the same time. She was rejected because she is also a fusion, but she's a fusion of 6 different gems. Like a permanent fusion. That has never happened in the show before. They always said the more gems, the more unstable the bigger fusions were. So it's kind of amazing that she has been able to sustain 6 gems all at once. And I just loved all these different gems. We've gone for years meeting only 1 or 2 gems here and there. And now within the span of just a few episodes, we've met Aquamarine, 2 Topazes, 2 Zircons, the Rutile twins, Rhodonite, Padparacha, and Fluorite. I really hope this keeps up because there are still so many other real-life gems that can be incorporated into the show. Personally, I'm holding out for an emerald because that's my birthstone and I just want to know what she might look like. Now, the big question about these gems is, are they the only ones? Everything we've known up until now has told us that Gem Society is very strict about their social order. Every gem has their place and they happily accept whatever fate they were created for. Except, of course, the crystal gems on Earth. I never would have guessed that there were other rogue gems on Homeworld. It's obvious that they are not fighters like the crystal gems, but are they the only ones? Could there be other groups out there somewhere else on Homeworld, or maybe even other planets? This group of gems brings up so many possibilities, and I can't wait to see where this goes. My other question is, who are these gems that compose the 2 fusions? Rhodonite has 2 gems and Fluorite has 6, which means that there are technically 10 gems in total hiding out below the surface of Homeworld. We know Rutile and Padparacha, but who are the gems that compose Rhodonite and Fluorite? I don't have any solid theories about Fluorite. There's a round one that looks kind of like a pearl and some triangular ones that remind me of paradots, but I do have a more consistent theory about Rhodonite. Rhodonite looks a lot like garnet. There are so many similarities that I don't think they can be easily ignored. So what if one of the gems that makes up Rhodonite is one of the gems that makes up garnet? Garnet is a ruby and a sapphire, and based on Rhodonite's reddish hue and her stockier pair of arms, I'm thinking that she might be part ruby. And then if you look at the gems, one of them is round and smooth like a pearl. I don't know, but I'm thinking that Rhodonite is a fusion between a ruby and a pearl. So after they're introduced to all these new gems, they're discovered by more Robonoids, but after a moment of being afraid as usual, Lars springs into action and starts taking them out one by one. And because he's human, he's safe. The Robonoids don't see him because he has no gem, and he single-handedly takes them all out. However, as he stabs the last one, it explodes and sends him flying into a pillar, and he is killed instantly, which I was not expecting. He's dead. So the gems all gather around him, and Steven holds him in his arms crying, and one of his tears falls on Lars, and he glows pink and comes back to life, which, as surprising as it was that they actually killed Lars, this was even more surprising. I just had no expectations that Steven would ever get Rose's healing tears. I just figured that her ability had been transformed into his healing spit, which he's already used before. And I never thought that those healing abilities could actually extend to bringing someone back from the dead. So that episode leads into the episode Lars' Head, and this was the most shocking of all of them. I thought with all the stuff that happened in the last 2 episodes, we'd start to wind down, or at least have them escape back to Earth. Nope. Lars is now permanently pink, like the exact same shade of pink as Steven's lion. His hair is even the same shade as Lion's mane, and as soon as I realized he changed color, I made the connection with Lion. So, does this mean that Lion was one of the group that Rose had with her in that flashback episode? Did one of her lions die and she brought it back to life with her tears? It really seems like that's what they're hinting at. Steven eventually touches Lars' head and his hand starts to go into it, just like Steven's lion's mane. Steven tells him that he wants to try something, so Lars lets him, and Steven just jumps into Lars' head, just like Lion's mane. He resurfaces in a pink field near a tree that looks very similar to the one inside the pocket dimension inside Lion's mane. In fact, as he looks around, he sees far off the same tree on the hill where his mother keeps her things. Whatever just happened to Lars has created another tree and another entrance into the pocket dimension in Lion's mane. I don't know if this was the intent, but I was getting very strong C.S. Lewis vibes from this scene. The pocket dimension in Lars' head / Lion's mane is so much like the one between the worlds in The Magician's Nephew. If you have never read The Chronicles of Narnia, I highly recommend it, especially The Magician's Nephew, which is my favorite. Anyway, Steven realizes that if he can see his mother's tree, he can probably get back home, so he walks until he's near enough to the tree, ducks down, and finds himself emerging from Lion's mane, back home. I don't even know if I have words to describe how amazed I was. This was such a great twist. Now that he's home, he quickly gets something to eat and drink, and then makes food to take back to Lars. But when he gets back, Lars, who had just been practically starving a little while ago, is now not hungry at all. So whatever has happened to him has made him no longer need to eat. So I'm wondering, is he like immortal now? Is Lion immortal? If Lion was one of Rose's lions so long ago, has he been living this whole time? There's just so much we don't know. Steven then tries to explain to everyone what happened and where he was, but unlike Lars, who is shocked to learn that he is now a portal to a pocket dimension, the gems are shocked that he was on Earth. Apparently, the gems on Homeworld all believe that Earth has been destroyed by the diamonds. So this makes me wonder what else the rest of the Homeworld gems believe about Earth, and how much do they really know about the diamonds? Maybe they have no idea of the kind of things the diamonds have done. I think we've always thought of Homeworld as this place filled with cold-hearted, emotionless gems, but maybe all the gems on Homeworld have just been lied to for eons. Steven then tells them that they are all completely wrong, the Earth is just fine, and there are even gems living there, and the off-color gems all wonder why other gems would want to live on Earth. And Steven tells them that it's because the Earth is a place where they are free to be themselves without having to hide, and having been forced to hide beneath Homeworld for centuries, the other gems all love this idea and want to live on Earth too. The only problem is, the only way for that to happen would be to leave Lars on Homeworld, because he obviously can't go into his own head. Once they realize this, they decide they're not going to go. Fluorite tells him that they know the planet and he'll need them to get around. They'll find another way to get back to Earth, one that will help Lars get back too. So Lars tells Steven that he has to go back to Earth without him, because everyone on Homeworld is out to get him. The only way he'll be safe is to go back to Earth. Steven doesn't want to leave him, but Lars tells him he has to go. He says Steven is always trying to help him and he wants to be someone who actually deserves it. Steven finally agrees and goes home, where he finds his dad, Connie, and the gems all frantically trying to think of a way to get him back. He announces that he's back, and the episode ends with him hugging his dad. These episodes were all so amazing. They had such massive revelations. We learned so much, and we met so many new gems. But I want to know where we're going next. Is Steven going to try and find a way to bring Lars and the other gems back to Earth? Or is he just going to leave them to find their own way? One of my complaints about the show is that it is notorious for having a ton of action episodes in a row, and then just forgetting everything for some quiet, fun episodes. And while they're usually fun and funny, and they serve to build character, they don't really advance the plot any further. And I know that every episode is important and everything that happens is important, but it always just feels like we go in stops and starts. As far as I know, Steven Universe hasn't been renewed for any seasons past 5. So if there's even the slightest possibility that this is the last season, There really isn't any time to waste, and I really hope that every episode from here on out does its best to further the plot, because as much as I do love the citizens of Beach City, I'm more invested in the conflict with the Diamonds than I am in the conflict between Sour Cream and his stepdad. I love Sour Cream, but I need answers. Anyway, I think that's all for today. This is probably going to be my biggest video ever. I doubt this will be the norm. I'm definitely planning to continue reviewing Steven Universe though, and I will probably continue to use this format. But they don't usually air in batches of 4 episodes, so next time it will probably be a much shorter video. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you liked it, I hope you'll subscribe because I've got a lot more stuff in the works. I'll see you next time.